Hey there, I wanted to show you how I decorate my pages that I have already put a pocket or some other type of thing on, like a side pocket or envelope or whatever. So I'm going to be going through that a little bit today, and I'm going to touch on the types of clusters I make in order to add them to my pockets. So I basically make three different types of what I call clusters. Um, the first one I call my fancy clusters, and these are examples of my fancy clusters. So what I do is it is uh, about like a 7-step process here, and I wrote it down. Keep that there so you can see. But I basically start with a plain paper. Now this is a cream colored one. This one's like a blue green, and this is a pinkish color. You can start with white, ink the edges, but it's a heavier piece of paper, and it just serves as a foundation and kind of like a outside frame for the cluster. Okay, and then the second layer, kind of like we're layering a cake or whatever, is music paper. So I add a layer of music paper to each of these, and I just roughly tear out a rectangle shape, kind of flip it over, see how it fits on the page. And then the next layer would be a book page. This one's from my German book, and I basically do the same thing, ink the edges, tear out a rectangle, add it to my stack. The next one is fancy paper. So here's where I'm adding a bit of color to um, to the cluster and try to like match or look good with if I have a color back here. So that would be a fancy paper, and you can use like something like this. Maybe in my next tutorial, I'll do one that's more kitty cat themed rather than the image. But for now, I have these. Um, So the fancy paper, and then I add a bit of lace or fabric, so I could add something like this too to it. Um, yeah, something like that. So something that's, soft-ish and fabric-like. So ribbon or lace or fabric. Um, And then last but not least is the focal point. So a picture, and it could just be a picture, or these I added a word as well. So um, that's like your 7 layers. So that's how I do my fancy clusters. So we have those. The second one is my Scrappy clusters. Let me bring these over here. And I just kind of made up these words. It's not technical work here. But my Scrappy clusters, I call them Scrappy clusters because they're made out of scraps. I don't tear up a big sheet. I use what I have in my bin and my recycling, and I make these little clusters. And especially when I have strips like this left over, because these are perfect for my scrappy clusters. So this one is just basically, I have usually, I'll say usually because it's not always accurate, an odd number of strips of paper. This one, 1, 2, 3, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, basically 3 to 7, uh, usually 5 or 7. Sometimes 6 will sneak in there. But when I'm making them, I strive for either 5 or 7. So, and then I, when I'm doing them, I staple them together, and these go really quickly because you're basically just, layering them, and then on the end, or on after you uh, staple it together, then you put your focal point or a word. These I made all for my kitty cat journals, so they'll have cat faces on them. So real simple process, but I'll have another video that explains that better too. But these you can put in your journal and just glue them in. Okay, so the third one is my hanging clusters, which are so much fun to make. And I grabbed a bunch of these because I have a bunch made already. Oh, that's not one. Here's my bin of clusters. Where'd they all go? I have a bunch of these made already with words, either torn out or like from word, like sheets of paper that I've printed out, or from books. Trying to see, I know like this one is from a music sheet. It's a name of a thing, a song. Okay, so anyway, I just pulled some out so I could have some examples. I haven't made any with just kitty cats on them, but I normally do a word. So these, I think I'm going to trade my word in and either take this off or ink this and glue it onto the word and just use the ones I already have. Like this one, so cute. I can block out that word and just use that. Isn't that cute? Oh, I love it. Okay, so that's how I'm going to do my clusters. Now my clusters are five things. The first one is a fancy paper. So just a torn piece of fancy paper like that. A bit of fabric or lace or ribbon goes next. And then a book page or music paper. Oh, I have these out of order, which is perfectly fine too. But the next one is music or book page, vellum or like a thin paper, like a sewing pattern, and then the focal point, which in this case, it is an encouraging word. So all of my clusters are 5. Yeah. So, oh, this one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, that threw me a little bit because the back of that's music paper. But basically 5. So fancy paper, lace or ribbon. I didn't do any vellum because this was kind of see-through. And the focal point. So that's basically my formula. As you can see, I don't always follow it. I see what looks best and whatever moves me in the moment. I try to stick to this, and it's easy to do, to mindlessly cut and put things together when you have a system like this, so it goes fast. But if in the moment I feel like I want something different, by all means, do that. Okay, so those are the 3 basic clusters that I use. And now I'm just going to start putting some things in my journal. I think I'm going to start with maybe my belly band here, because I want to, on my belly bands, I always put either washi tape on the top and bottom, kind of like give it a base, like some structure, or I use something like this and I'll do some ribbon on the top and bottom, or maybe some ribbon like this on the top and bottom. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Do some pretty ribbon like this. And I'll use the same ribbon on the top and the bottom. And I'm going to leave it a little fluid. So I'm not going to glue it down entirely. I'm just going to have a strip on the bottom, a strip on the top, and call it good. Nope, it's a little messy. All right, do that and that. Okay, and then on this part, and I'm kind of doing this a little on the simple side because this is so, like, that pattern is so beautiful. I don't really want to cover it up too much. I love this kitty cat, but I'm kind of weird about stuff like that. Like, I feel like this should be on this side, like, because it's looking off the page. So maybe I'll find a different kitty cat here in my stash. Okay, what am I thinking? I could just use one of these. Like, look how beautiful that looks. Actually, I really like that one on there because this is like the same kind of color that is. I could go with the opposite color right there. What do you think? This one or this one? I think I'll go with this one. Okay, so there we go. All right, so I'm just going to glue this kitty on. And I'm going to have it kind of hanging off this edge, so I'm only going to glue this side, or put glue on this side, and try not, yeah. So when I use this belly band and I tuck things behind here, it's not going to tuck in between this and the belly band. It should tuck right like that. All right, beautiful. I love it. All right, let's see what else we got. Maybe I need to add a little lace somewhere on here. That hat is kind of calling me to put some lace on it. This hat. So let's see, what am I going to do here? I could do that, and have one of my clusters hanging right in front of it. I like that idea. I also like decorating these edges a little bit, so I might do that. And then I think that will be sufficient, actually. There's just so much going on in that picture. I don't want to overpower it with anything else. So just slap some lace down here. You can use Fabri-Tac on this, but I just basically use this on everything unless I'm doing something really specific. And I really love these threads hanging down, so I'm going to leave that. This kind of looks like that cat. That's funny. All right, I guess we're going to have to use that. Yeah. All right. All right, so I'm switching that so it's on the back there. Put it through. Oh, knew I was going to do that. Put it through this page. And then clip it together there. Okay. I'm going to let that dry a little bit. Okay, so I came up with these. I think what I'm going to do is, not do that. Maybe add some of these to some of these pages, or some of these arcs here. And of course I want to add an odd amount, so 3 maybe on each side. If these don't stay, I'll add a little bit more of that glue behind it there. And then re-glue them. They seem to be staying okay though. Oops. Alright, so I'm kind of not a real blingy kind of girl, so I kind of like the simplicity of this, yet it has a little bit of funness to it. Can you see that? Yeah, I like it. So there you go. I think I'm going to leave that just like that and continue on. All right, so now my envelopes. Normally I put kind of like a faux clasp on my envelopes. So I think I'm going to do that. And then normally on the back of my envelopes, I put another pocket. So I think I'm going to do that too. And sometimes I add lace to these edges. So what do I have here? I have this, which is so big, so thick. but I'm not hating it because I like how plain it is. I could keep the theme of this going and cut that down too. So I think I'll do one or the other of that just because it's plain enough, yet I love the lace. So for a clasp, I think I'm going to use maybe not a cluster, but maybe the head of a cat. But I kind of like that guy. And I like the bright orange behind him too. So I think maybe I'm going to really mess this up and cut it by hand. Just kidding. I'm gonna find my circle thing so I can make him cut him out roughly like a circle. And he is just perfectly the right size. So let me get my pen here. All right. Yeah. All right. I'll cut that out. All right. Done with my template. Throw all this away. And I'm going to want to do my pinking shears on this lace. And I'm just doing this using the lace as a guide. I don't need to be getting out any special scissors other than this, or a ruler, or anything. Just cut it enough so I have enough for both sides. So I'm going to do that right here. And then I'll put this side over here. Yeah, so I want to cut this down a little bit. All right. So let's put this on. And then at the same time, I don't think I'm going to ink this. I don't think if I ink it, it will hold any of the ink. But let's give it a try. Who knows? You can tell it's getting late in the day now because the sun's shining and I'm facing the sunset. So, yeah, that was a little bit, not too bad. All right, so I'm going to smooth out this glue a tad. Paste these on. And then I am going to put some glue on the back of this guy. Smooth it all out with my finger. And then I'm going to put him right at the edges. And if I don't like this little edge showing, I'm going to trim that a little bit, which I think I'm going to do. So it's kind of going to be reminiscent of the same curve as the picture. All right. So there you have that side. What do you think? Oh, there's my Bert. Hi, Bert. All right, I think that's all I'm going to show you for today. And I'm going to continue decorating my pages and adding clusters. And my next video, I'll show you a detailed way to do them in batches. So see you next time.